I have completed my improvements of the Adventure Island text adventure game I wrote when I was 12 years old. And now I'm 4 times older, and the code is maybe twice as good at best. All right, yeah, so I put a lot more depth into it. It's the same number of rooms. Well, I added one room. I changed a few of the exits. I added like 3 or 4 puzzles to make it a little bit deeper. But it's still pretty much the same game, just more fleshed out. So it's on GitHub. If you go to github.com/Ben Heck, it's Adventure Island 800. And you can download the ATR, the Atari disk file, or the image, and you can load it in an emulator and play it yourself. There's also a map. I drew a map by hand. I certainly didn't have whatever I drew back then. So if you want to cheat, you can look at the map JPEG, but don't look at it if you don't want to cheat because it has pictograms of the solution. So you should try to figure it out yourself. So I had, speaking of cheating, I had ChatGTP make me a Python conversion program that would take the Atari line endings to PC or vice versa. So just do that. That's also on GitHub. Yeah, because if you do the Atari line endings are 9B hex, so they would appear all in one line on Windows. Yeah, so that will convert it. So now we make sure memory is erased. And I've attached H1 as a disk drive on this computer. So Game AT is the Atari version. So when you enter something in Atari Basic, it basically types it in. So it's a text listing. So right now the computer is typing in stuff just as if I was typing it on my keyboard. So if there's an error, it'll actually generate an error as it does this process. Normally a basic program is stored in memory in tokenized form and also stored in disk in tokenized form. And when you list it, it actually detokenizes it and makes it look like, a basic listing. That's why this takes a little bit longer, even on an emulator, because it's typing it all in. Doop, 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 doop. Yeah. So yeah, it's on my GitHub. I'll walk you through some of the improvements, but I want you to try to figure out the game for yourself. Yeah. In the meantime, we still have 12 slots for the Friday morning class workshop at MGC. The morning class sold out it hasn't sold out yet. The afternoon class went in like 2 days, but the morning one is taking forever. So hey, if you want in, there are still openings. It's at 10 a.m. that Friday. Maybe that's a little too early. Well, I'll be there. Okay, now that we've entered it, I'm going to save it to the disk image. Game 3 basic, like that. Now let's go to cold reset. This menu is pretty self-explanatory. Let's go to the new version. All right. So you can type help or verb to get a list of the verbs. I removed a couple that weren't really used, but these are the ones you actually need to play the game. So it's get, take, drop, examine, push, pull, put, cut, burn. And also have a last noun system. So the last relevant noun is stored. So if you say examine it, it's going to examine the sea. Examine them. Examine that. All right, let's go north. Inventory, nothing held. Also very slowly convert lowercase to uppercase. If for some reason you want to do that. Southeast. So I just try to make this a little bit more gamified, make it more intuitive, maybe a little too intuitive. It's going to be like those new Tomb Raider games. I've got to get to the top of that tower. Examine tree, examine it. An old lean-to, the boards are loose. Push them. Oh, look, matches. Examine them. Take it. Inventory. Examine that. So yeah, there's a match counter now. Let's go south. Burn. Actually, this should still work. Burn it. Yeah, that okay. Burn the tree. Now, if I examine my matches, I only have 3 left. Oh, I wonder what they're going to be used for something else in the game? Huh? Well, this is all I'm going to show you because I think you should download this game, download the ATR disk image, and load it into your favorite Atari 800 emulator because there's so many of them that you have to have a favorite. and see if you can get to the very end. So I put in some like a few cheeky jokes and references, and if you can examine things, and like if you try to do something dumb, like the game will actually handle a few new dumb situations. I also put in a couple more deaths and more puzzles, so the game has more depth as well. It's still got the same, well, almost the same number of rooms. I added one more room at the end. There's a new puzzle at the very, very end. Other than that, all the rooms are the same, although the descriptions may have been tweaked, and a few of the exits have been switched around, just a couple. So most of it's all the same. So on the GitHub, I did draw up a map on paper as I was reprogramming the game, and I scanned it. So if you want to cheat, it's the JPEG in the GitHub. But you shouldn't cheat. You should figure it out yourself. Pretend it's like 1985, and watch out for grooves.